Well, hello folks, how you all doing? Yeah, no, I've not made a video like this for a wee while. I've just been really busy doing other stuff, which I won't go into. So, I'm sorry I've not been making very many videos recently, but, I just have to do other things. This is the Class B17 locomotive that Steve sent to me a wee while ago. It's a little bit dirty, and if we just turn on the power here, it goes. It just doesn't go very fast. It's a bit rattly in reverse. So I think a service of the motor will sort that out. It needs a bit of a clean-up, and this is what was the Leeds United locomotive. Let me just turn this round. So it would have had a nameplate here with Leeds United on it, and also the number has been rubbed off here. So I've been looking online for nameplates, and I don't want a footballing nameplate. So I'm going to have a bash at making my own nameplate, just designing something on my computer and printing it off onto glossy paper. And we'll get some decals for the numbers there. So we'll do that, we'll clean it up, and we'll service the Ringfield motor. Right, let's get to it. We'll get to the bench. Okay, so I think what we'll do first of all is just see how freely this locomotive runs. So there's no problem with that at all. I think we'll maybe, let's see, will we open this up? I think we probably should. So screw at the front there. Does this come out? No. Let's take this off. It seems ages since I worked on a locomotive. Oh, little washer there. Right, that's not coming off. But something's come loose. Oh dear, what have I done? We'll undo this. That screw out. And we've got another broken underframe. Don't know if you can see there, but it's cracked across there. Deary me. Right, why isn't this coming out? Ah, there we go. It's lifting the wrong bit. Right. Oh dear. Gosh, I've never seen that before. That entire body is all enclosed, so I can't get into the weight that's in there. That's obviously rattling about. And there's been some jiggery faffery going on there. That looks like some sort of filler. Oh, there's the top of that come off. Where did that go? Aha. So that'll come off. Obviously, I'm going to have to gently remove the handrail at the front, which is actually broken on one side. There we go. So, Steve, is this your doing? Okay, that's not very heavy actually. That just looks like some bits of die cast. Okay, so I've cut some lead that we can pop in here. To be honest, the weight of the chassis isn't bad. I don't think it really needs the extra weight, but it's never a bad idea to add a bit of weight. Right, so what I'm going to do is, to make sure that doesn't start rattling about, is put some foam in there. So we'll just put it into the front part, and then squeeze this back into place. Like so. And get these handrails back in position. So that now no longer rattles, and it's a reasonable weight. Okay, the chassis, it's a bit manky, but it's also been over oiled, and a lot of the oil's congealed. You probably won't be able to see, but there's congealed oil in the valve gear there, and it's quite bad. I mean, it's not preventing the thing from moving, but I think I'd like to see if we can clean that up a bit. Does this come off? Yes, it does. Right, get that out of the road. It's the same type of underframe as the schools class locomotive I worked on recently, which, if you watch that video, I mean, it's an absolute nightmare getting these underframes off. They're just not really meant to be removed. There's a clip here, and there's clips in there, and there, and there. And they will hold the pickups in place. So to remove this is an absolute nightmare. So I think I'm going to leave it alone. The fact that it's broken there isn't going to make any difference to anything. If the locomotive works okay, if I get everything cleaned up and service the motor, and if it runs fine, then I'm just going to leave it alone. But if it runs a bit lumpy or anything, then yeah, I'm probably going to have to get that underframe out and clean up the axles and lubricate them. So we shall give this a bit of a clean up, and we'll get the contact cleaner into the valve gear just to degrease it. So there's some of the congealed oil brush in here as well. Get some new oil in here. The whistle nut here, these should be nice and shiny brass, but they're not. They're very, very tarnished. So if I can pull these out, well, one came out anyway. Is this one going to come out? Come on, there you go. A little whistle. Yeah, I'm going to put these in my metal cleaner and get them all shiny again. Everybody asks what this is. It's just clock cleaning fluid. Just Google clock cleaning fluid. The well-known one is Hornby, but this is the Priory metal polish I use. It's cheaper than Hornby. It's basically a diluted ammonia solution. So by the looks of things, this has been opened a few times. Off it comes. Let's get it apart. And it should, oh, we've got a separate piece there. Does that come out separately? Ooh, not seen that before. That's a new thing. Quite a good thing actually. There's a screw. There's a screw. I was thinking this clipped, but it doesn't. It's got a nice little screw. You see? Hornby could do it when they tried. Nice little screw, and then you're not levering anything apart and breaking things, and that's much better. Oh, jings, yeah, that's axle really needs a good clean and some new oil. And we shall take the gears out with that clap. See what state the spindles are in. They seem okay actually. We've got a lot of oil and fluff to get rid of. Unplug that, which was not on very tight at all. Okay, the spring's looking excellent condition. Are the brushes going to fall out? Nope. That's not a good sign. Right, do we have clips at the back? Yes, we do. So I'll lift up the clips, and that releases the plate. Prise it off. And the brushes are stuck in there. Here's the commutator, the usual mess. Jesus. Just giving that a good scoosh just to act as a degreaser. so we can get all the old oil off and all the fluff along with it. Right, we'll scoosh out the axle shafts, or whatever you call them. You can see how manky they are. Righto. Okay, we'll get the T-cut, dab it onto the commutator, give it a clean. Alright, give it a scoosh of this. And there we go, nice clean commutator. And as usual, there's all sorts of oil and gunk and fluff and God knows what caught up in the gear on the wheel there. So really give it a scoosh with this. And attack it with a brush. You can see the difference between the two. You know, this one nice and clean, no more fluff, but this one's still all gunked up. So there we go, feels cleaned. I did that with the rotary tool because it's quicker and it actually does a better job. I know you can do it with T-cut and whatever other solvent you want to use if you really want to spend the time, but the brass brush does not damage the wheel in any way. So if you have a rotary tool, stick one of these little brass brushes on and just give it a blast. Some contact cleaner in there, and we'll pop the brushes in just to get all the oil off them. So I think we'll give these a wee bit of a file. I don't know if you can see, but I mean, the Hornby ones aren't as bad as the Lima ones, but there is a little plastic nodule just there. You know, be sure to use a really fine sandpaper for this. This is 2500 grit, so you want a very fine sandpaper. You don't want to grind the things down, you know, you just want to get rid of that little bit of excess plastic. Okay, we shall pop this back on. Try not to break the clips when you push it back on. Here we go, snaps in. Just tighten up that terminal a bit. It's a bit there. Just a bit on the loose side. It's better. Just give these a wipe. One in there. Press the spring, put that down, and then just give it a little bit of a bend. I think this battery is getting flat. Right, gears. But before we do that, we'll get some oil into the pinion, or just behind the pinion, and some oil where that armature shaft comes through that casing. Get the moly grease onto the spindles. Put the clip on. It's fine. Okay. We'll get some oil onto the axles. Pop that in there, give that a squeeze until they're pretty much in the ballpark. It never ceases to amaze me the slight variations you get. You know, you would think that, you know, a 10 to drive would be a 10 to drive. That, you know, Hornby would be using, you know, the same chassis configuration, the same Ringfield motor, and I've just forgotten to put the middle wheels in, you stupid idiot. But But it amazes me the subtle little differences you get. You know, I mean, this is the first one I've seen with this screw to hold the motor in place, which, you know, is a much better idea. But, you know, they're all just slightly different. It's good though, the slight differences. It keeps you on your toes. It would, you know, it tend to get a little bit boring if they're all exactly the same. So it's nice to get these little variations. And this is quite a good idea as well. You know, this pickup that, you know, connects to the drawbar just comes out, which is quite good. Quite like that idea. If I can get it back in. What was I saying? But it'd been a good idea. Okay. There's just an order you have to do things, I think. Lift that out. And then that's got to hook in there. That's got to go down. There, like that. There we are. I'll take the gloves off because I don't want oily fingers on the tender body. And we'll pop this back on. Right, okay, that's the tender done. Okay, so just cleaning the wheels. And this should now run okay. So before we do the nameplate and the decals and put the whistle and everything back, I'm going to stick this on the layout and see how it runs. Because if it's running lumpy or whatever, I might have to take it apart again and get into the chassis and clean all the axles out and everything, which I really don't want to do. So fingers crossed this will run okay. So let's go try it. Okay, so power on. Okay, that's running absolutely fine. Still a little bit rattly going backwards, and it's not running all that fast, but I think it'll speed up once it's running. So yeah, I think that's fine. It's not running lumpy, there's no sign of any bad connection between the locomotive and the tender, so I think we're all good. So let's get the nameplate and the decals and that sorted out. Okay, so my little whistle etc. is all cleaned up, so we'll pop them back in. There we go. It does make quite a difference to get these cleaned up. So I'm going to remove the number from this. It's currently numbered 61656. Now I'm going to be giving this a fictional name, so I'm going to give it a fictional number. And I looked at the numbers for the B17s, and I think the highest one was 61674 or something like that. So I'm going to make this one 61680, just for the hell of it, basically. So I'm going to remove this number because the decals I have, what have I done with them? Where's my decal sheet? There it is. The numbers that are the closest in size are a little bit smaller, so I can't just remove, you know, a couple of numbers and replace them with those. I'll need to remove the whole thing and replace it, and at least that way the numbers will be exactly the same on either side. So I think these numbers, I just assumed they were decals. I don't think they are. I think they've been stenciled on with paint. So I'm having to use a spudger, you know, just a nice sharp plastic edge with some water to just scrape them out. Okay, I think it's pretty much gone. So I'm going to need 4 6s, 2 1s, 2 8s and 2 0s. Okay, so I've got 6168. I'm just going to add 0 to the end. Slide it on, and then very carefully manoeuvre it into position. I think that will pretty much do it. Give it a dab. There we go. And just give that a dab with the cotton bud. And there we are. 61680 on both sides. Don't ask me why, it just is. Right, the nameplate. Okay, so naming this locomotive. I think the B17s, from looking at Wikipedia, the B17s mostly ran down south and various other places. I don't think they really ran in Scotland, although they were LNER, so maybe they did in LNER days, but in their BR days, I'm not sure they ran up in my neck of the woods here. But nevertheless, I thought it'd be nice to name it something that meant something to me personally, or had some kind of local association or something. I didn't want to put on a silly name, or name it after me, or anything daft like that. So what I thought I would call it is Glenkinchie, which is my local whisky distillery, and I've made these little nameplates just on my computer. I just designed them on the computer and printed them off on glossy paper. So that says Glenkinchie, and it will sit in there and stick on quite nicely, like that. I don't know how long it'll last. When you print things off onto glossy paper like that, sometimes the ink fades and stuff. So I can always make new ones though. I've got a spare one there, and I'd say it's stored in my computer, so I can always make new ones. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with the way that looks actually. Right, we'll get this stuck on, and then that will be that. Tiny little blob of yoo-hoo, just so that stays in place, and it'll come off easy enough if I need to remove it. There we are. Done. Right, let's go and stick this in the layout with some coaches and give it a bit of a running sesh. Okay, so there we are, all hooked up to some coaches. Let's turn on the power. So there we go, that's the Hornby B17 that Steve donated to me, now renumbered and renamed. It's now the 61680 Glenkinchie. Glenkinchie is a little village not too far from where I live, and it's got a little distillery where it produces the Glenkinchie single malt. It's a lowland single malt, and excellent stuff. If you like your whisky, give it a try sometime. It's not the cheapest stuff in the world, I'll give you that, but it's well worth it. Yeah, so this isn't running it quite as smooth as I would like. I mean, it runs okay, but pulling away it's a little bit jerky. So I'm going to give it time to run in and see how it goes, but I may look at it again to see if I can get it to pull away a little smoother. But other than that, very pleased with this. Very nice locomotive, and another one, yet another one to the collection. So thanks very much again to Steve for donating this. Really appreciate it. Okay folks, catch you later.